What is going on, everybody? This is a Pop Culture Crisis movie review for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It has been a long time coming. We have been excited about this movie for a while. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I was really excited to watch this movie and do this review. Had my expectations a little bit let down, but I still have like a favorable opinion.
And with us to talk about his opinion about it, introduce yourself, sir.
Hi there, I'm Brian.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've been here for a movie review. Remember
what was the last one?
Would have been
Death on the Now.
Was it Death on the Now? Remember Moonfall?
No. There's no way because I wasn't here yet. Yeah. We did Sonic 2 review together, actually.
Might have been Sonic.
Yeah.
Remember the Moonfall review? We talked for like an hour about how awful it was, and then at the end, I'm like, go see it.
But you are the professional remote drone operator of this company,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, but we don't say that here.
We don't. But you have a license for it.
I do.
Yes. So this is a movie. It was directed by Rice Frake Waterfield or Waterfield. I don't know if it's pronounced differently there. It is a public domain property of the character of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, and even Eeyore. And it has been turned from a children's tale into a horror movie. Mm-hmm. And what a horror movie was, it didn't really have a plot. Nope. At all?
Nope.
Not things happened.
Things happened.
I mean, that's,
in the vague shape
plot,
of a plot,
right?
The closest I could come to a plot outside of the fact that Winnie the Pooh and Piglet go feral because they were forced to eat Eeyore because they were left behind by
Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin when he had to go to college.
What happened to Tigger, and why did we not see him feature in this movie?
Probably the sequel.
Was he eaten as well?
They didn't.
I didn't see his grave, but we did see Eeyore's grave. I wish we could have seen more of Eeyore as well.
But
that was his tail that they were whipping Christopher Robin with.
Yeah, they were scourging Christopher Robin in a dungeon with Eeyore's tail, and then bathed him with his own wife's blood.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty gruesome stuff. They do a lot of gore, a lot of like.
They don't shy away from the gore here.
Yeah, like you linger on scenes of like gore.
Yeah, it's very low budget. The budget on this film was very low. It was filmed in just a couple of locations. A lot of Dutch angles, which are used to make scenes seem wider than they were, probably because of a lack of lenses available to them when they're filming. I enjoyed the low budget nature combined with the dark tones actually made for something I liked. There was one scene in particular that I didn't like that felt like they put more time into it than they needed to. And it's when one of somebody escapes, one of the women escapes, and Winnie the Pooh goes outside and there's just a blast of light from nowhere. Like the forest just lit up like it's daylight, and it made no sense whatsoever. It didn't correspond to anything going on behind them. But in this movie, basically, Christopher Robin takes his wife now back to 100 acres. 1,000 is it 1,000 or 100? I always forget that one. To the 100-acre woods, and she is immediately choked to death with a chain, and he is captured.
He's trying to prove that his friends weren't imaginary.
Yes,
to his wife.
And then somehow we are then introduced to a parade of 5 women who are going on a girls' weekend, all of which have varying levels of no backstory. Maria, who is like the main girl, has PTSD from a stalker that I think just never came back. Like did that ever come back?
I thought that group of
that's what I thought.
Of guys that they came across.
As like
included one of them was her stalker, but they all just looked like generally creepy guys.
Yes.
So I have no idea. I don't think that was intentional. But she has this stalker that she's like processing the trauma from this experience, and then she decides to go on this girls trip to a
Airbnb.
Yeah,
a really nice Airbnb.
It is,
and then Winnie the Pooh lives at like the nicest
Pooh and
place.
Piglet have great digs. Yeah. Like I don't know what they have to complain about.
There's an above ground fire that's been like perfectly constructed with like it looks like it was done by like an architect. Like what are they complaining about? They've got nothing to complain about. Another example of the low budget like production value of this that somebody pointed out that I didn't notice. I was trying to read what was saying. My favorite death scene in the whole movie, somebody equates, they said that nowadays, back in the 80s, if you had sex, you die. That's the idea. Now you're a social media influencer, you die.
Yep.
And that was my favorite. That was the only death I cared about because she's the only one who felt like she actually like made me like annoyed with her.
She's
Therefore,
the most vapid. She's like taking selfies and sees Pooh standing ominously in the background. And she looks around for like 2 minutes total, and then is just like, whatever. I mean, like, and then immediately gets killed.
And apparently the backup, it was clearly her phone and not a prop phone because it had the name Natasha on the back, which is the name of the actress.
I did not know that. That is awesome.
Which is incredible. Also, there's a magical gun that Maria has that she just forgets when the house gets invaded. She goes, "Oh, I have a gun upstairs." Which
is a huge
500
gun.
Smith & Wesson Magnum.
Like that she would never have bought.
Something, and they're all British, so you have no idea how or why she got this.
Yeah, where like the funnier thing would be if she got arrested for
she
having
didn't even know where she had put it in her room in the Airbnb, which was ridiculous.
Between this and Knock at the Cabin, there's no wonder that Hollywood hates guns because they have no idea how to use them properly for home defense.
Yeah.
So Natasha gets her head run over. Sorry, her name is not Natasha in the movie. Her name is Lara in the movie. She gets her head run over. There's two Natashas in this movie. Her and then there was Jess, who was just a bad actor because I thought she was evil the whole time. It turned out she just didn't know how to emote. The girl with the glasses, like she just didn't know how to emote very well. So she always looked vaguely sinister to me. Like maybe she like lured them there somehow. Like she was just not good at her job, and the acting was lacking in this movie. The biggest compliment I can give it to it is the women were all in great shape.
There's nothing wrong with that, I guess.
The first friend who made it there late and was killed first.
Yes.
It seemed like that was in there for no reason because why didn't Maria like wonder where that girl was and why she never showed up? And then went like you could have had her go looking for her. Also, and find out what was going on, right?
Was the guy when that lady like stops at like the gas station? Was that the same guy who was in the woods, or was that a different guy?
I don't know why there are so many.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's so hard to tell. Like
they literally picked the most like
they all look equally creepy
and sinister,
but they never did anything sinister. Actually,
I don't know if that was to draw comparison between them and like the guy who plays Christopher Robin, who's more traditionally handsome.
Right. They also I couldn't see like what they were going for with the accents.
Yeah.
Like, were they trying to do American accents? Because some of them were just straight up like British men, and then the other
American
ones
guys. I was like, what
were
the hell?
trying and failing very hard at like hick Southern accents from America. So I had no idea what that was about.
It didn't make any sense to me. I'm like,
there's no like backwoods UK people they can have like
driving pickup trucks. I mean, I'm sure there are, but it's just like they don't talk like that, and they start like beating up Pooh with baseball bats and stuff like that.
What was with the like chopping people in half with his hand? That just came out of nowhere.
Well, he has sharp claws.
Also, I want to point out
claws.
They put a little bit of effort. It looks like a mask the whole time. Like just the other day, we had it. Like I was talking to Tim, and I mistakenly said it's serial killers dressed up as Pooh and Piglet, or Pooh and Piglet, because you could easily make that mistake because they don't look like man bears. Or
that's the funny part.
That's the funny part. But they do go out of their way to give Pooh some facial expressions with CGI.
Yeah, I liked his weird smile.
And then they incorporate him eating honey, but then I thought it was going to be a plot point, but it isn't really a plot point.
Nope,
I thought if you run out of honey, then you need blood, right?
But
he has both.
Yes.
So I don't know where the bloodlust came from, but I like Piglet's squealing and his large tusks.
Yes.
It makes it more realistic. He's like a wild boar.
Yeah.
Also, Piglet got nerfed as far as power rankings here because a very small woman hit him with a sledgehammer like 3 times, and Pooh gets hit by like multiple cars,
vehicles,
and still
Pooh is far more resilient. But also, like maybe that's drawing upon the fact that Piglet's character originally was like very neurotic and emotionally fragile and panicky.
Maybe,
but they kind of didn't make Piglet panicky. They made him equally as menacing and like wielding a sledgehammer.
It was, and then that led to one of my favorite death scenes where the lady gets basically just like knifed into the wall.
Well, I mean, who was that lady that they found?
The lady with it was like a machete.
She was blinded in one eye, and she was just chained up at Pooh and Piglet's place. They didn't kill her, so I don't know why.
The only round that
there.
she could fire out of that gun.
Like, was that
out nowhere?
Like, literally, like, it's funnier if she doesn't know that it's a single action and just doesn't know to cock the hammer. But it's funnier if she just has one bullet. Like the
British person wouldn't have known anyway.
Like the British person's like, well, the British government's like, we'll give you a gun, but we're only going to give you one bullet. It's like what we're doing here with high capacity magazines, right? like they're just like, look, you can have a gun for home defense, but you better be like an ace shot. I can't in good conscience say that you should go see this for any reason other than if you are a huge fan of watching like unabashed gore and violence. In that case, if that's all you care about, you'll have a lot of fun here. But it's, as a movie, it's choppy.
No, it's a fun time to watch in theaters. So while you have the chance, go see it in theaters. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think a lot of people will stream this, but it's a...
No, I think this will do better in streaming.
Really?
This will do way better.
Because I think it's more of an experience to go and see it in theaters, and it's like more charming that way, in my opinion.
I mean, I think the people at the theater with us took it too seriously. We were laughing through most of the violence. And,
yeah, we kind of seemed crazy because we were the only people that found it funny.
Here's another mistake that I pointed out when we were watching. There's a very, very clear editing error when Lara, the vapid, self-indulgent influencer's taking photos of herself where she's shooting in vertical and it cuts to a different angle and it's shooting in horizontal. I'm like, I hate it when that happens. When I'm just shooting vertical and then it becomes horizontal.
Yeah, I know.
See, but like
for all its flaws, you know,
they didn't need to be doing that. And then there was a gay couple in there that probably got them their funding to get this movie made by including the gay couple. That luckily, like they're not given special treatment. They don't get like a good death like in The Last of Us. They are murdered.
Well, one of them gets murdered, then the other one gets a revenge on Piglet, and then she gets murdered.
Yes.
Yep. With the machete to the mouth. Yeah.
That was my favorite of the machete.
That was actually done okay.
To the machete.
One thing is, like, I would forgive a lot if they had a satisfying ending. It was just
very abrupt.
The ending sucked, kind of. Like, I thought Christopher Robin was either gonna like be able to save her and sacrifice himself, or sacrifice her and save himself.
But even if you had,
both of them,
even if you had, you wouldn't have cared because nobody cares about. She's Maria, the PTSD victim from the stalker that they never saw again. Like, you don't care about any of these characters. You kind of care about Piglet, and you kind of care about Winnie the Pooh because of bad things have been done to them. Like, so you kind of want to see them get their comeuppance.
Nothing bad happened to them, though.
Like, they never had to eat their friends. They had to eat their friends.
But they never justified their actions, though.
Well, like, they're not humans. They don't really need justification, I suppose. They're man bears.
The story doesn't, like, on its face justify their actions. Christopher Robin had to go to college.
Yep.
So freaking what? Like, big whoop.
You left us.
They're not human. That's describing human motivation too.
Right.
And they actually
Are they supposed to be like completely animal, or do they have any reason?
No, they're like, they describe it as man bears. So like bear pigs. So
if you saw in the very beginning when they're doing the
text on the newspaper,
it's bear man pig.
Yeah.
Instead of man bear pig.
Yeah, but same concept, right?
Yep.
So they're not human, therefore you can't really give them human motivations. But it's more animalistic. Have you ever seen that meme where it says like dog abandoned by owner walks 7,000 miles to scratch its old owner for like getting rid of him? Like, that's basically this movie. That's like, this movie's I guess, but they just waited for Christopher. Like, they didn't even go look for him. They just waited for Christopher Robin to end up back.
We already know that a sequel is coming. They left it open for the sequel. And Christopher Robin just runs off into the distance.
So you could say
the woods.
There's a story there that like Winnie the Pooh can't bring himself to kill Christopher Robin because he didn't kill him. Like,
that's what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah, like somehow Pooh would get his comeuppance because he just can't bring himself to do it at the end. But a lot of it felt like they had a bunch of story ideas and then they just gave up like halfway through and just like, let's just do a bunch of violence. It'll be better that way.
Yeah, and it worked out.
And I'm okay
fine
with that. Like I said, if you like hyperviolence that lingers on shots of women's heads trapped underneath cars, that's awesome. You should go see this. It's probably won't be, I don't know how wide the release will be. It isn't on par with other low-budget films as far as subject matter or as far as execution, but as far as violence goes, it's great. So if you look at the actors, a lot of them were like only have a couple of credits to their name. So they're new to the business and stuff like that. The acting from the women was lacking. Christopher Robin seemed like he had a little bit more experience, but not a whole lot. And it was what it was. They're not there.
But I appreciate that a movie like this that is obviously low budget with actors that are inexperienced relatively is in theaters next to something like Quantumania. Like, I think that juxtaposition in and of itself is enough to give it some leeway. And
young Christopher Robin was probably the best actor in this whole thing. Like with his one flashback scene, he might have given the one good performance in this whole thing. It's also funny if you look at the actors who played Piglet and the actor who played Winnie the Pooh. So the guy who plays Pooh is like a normal looking dude. Piglet looks like he would have been great in a slasher in the 80s. So I like it. I bet you if this does well, so the improvements that I could see them making beyond just having like a more cohesive story, if it does get the sequel and it does well enough that the budget is increased, you will see more expressive facial expressions from the masks. That will be done better.
Sure.
I also wasn't expecting Pooh to be able to psychically control honeybees to swarm
that
people.
was once at the very end of the movie.
That's kind of a cool idea.
I also feel like they didn't have they had more plans for that, but they didn't have the budget to do the CGI well enough because it was hard to tell what they were showing on screen. Like, it was there, but it needed at least one more mid-level shot showing the bees close up that just wasn't there. So it just looks kind of like artifacts on screen with buzzing.
Yep.
It was all right. I mean, it is what it is. I think this movie was decent.
I will say there is just understand there is no plot, and that's fine. It's just violence. So I guess you finally get like a universal recommend from us here. That's rare, is it not?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still a 4 though.
Yeah. Wait, out of what?
Out of 10.
Okay. So 4 out of 10. What would you give it?
0. I would not recommend watching this movie.
No.
No, not at all.
Or at least wait for streaming.
Yeah, if that.
Okay.
But then again, I'd rather you watch like The Terrifier or something else that has a little bit more substance to it.
Okay. I say if you're really about the gore, then you probably should see it in theaters. If you're only mildly about the gore, and especially if you don't care about story, wait till streaming. You can watch it there. It'll probably be out in a couple of months. So let's go. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.